With that, welcome back to another episode of Double Tall Tales. I'm Nick, Megan, and Sam here. It's going to be the last episode that we're doing without a guest on, so next week you can expect a guest to be on the show. Should we even announce who it is, or should we let them wait?
I think we should let them wait.
It's going to be a good one, I can tell you that. This week we're going to have a little bit of a fun episode as well. We're going to be talking about some confrontations with individuals at the bar and some stories that kind of go along with that. But before that, should we get into your cocktail this week?
Sure, yeah. Roll the tape, bitches. We're going to be making a spiced cider mule. So it's going to be a bourbon mule, which is a variation on a regular Moscow mule. And we're going to do 1.5 ounces of bourbon in here. This week we're using bullet bourbon. And then on top of that, we're going to use 1 ounce of apple cider, which this is looking a little settled, but about 1 ounce of apple cider, not quite all of that. And then I'm going to squeeze a fresh lime in there, just to add a little zest. And we're going to use 1/4 ounce of a homemade nutmeg simple syrup. There's just going to be like a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of sweetness as well. And then it's going to be a super easy little top with some ginger beer. We're using Goslings in this one. And I'm just going to give it a nice little stir with a cocktail spoon to get all those ingredients mixed up. And I'm going to garnish it with a cinnamon stick here. And then cinnamon stick, and then you can either use an apple slice or a lime. Right now I just have a lime, but an apple slice adds a little nice freshness to it as well. But that is your cocktail this week.
Tape.
There's a tape there. If you didn't see it, I don't know. Nick fucked up on editing, that's for sure.
Definitely did not this time.
This time. Keyword.
Oh, so what is your cocktail this week then, Megan?
So my cocktail this week is a Moscow Mule because that's one of my favorite cocktails. Basically anything Moscow Mule related I'm a fan of. But being that it's fall and seasonal, we thought we'd go with a little bit of a spiced twist on it. And Nick makes a really, really bomb nutmeg simple syrup. Mm-hmm. So we've got a homemade nutmeg simple syrup. We've got a little bit of apple cider in it. And then we're using bullet bourbon, but you could really use any bourbon with it. And then a ginger beer on top. It's pretty good. Sam, what do you think?
I feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Drinking it.
Just
minus
like
the
how you should.
Yes.
For the fall beverage.
Oh.
Nice take on a classic cocktail.
We're just trying to twist it up a little bit, give it a little fun. And then you can toast, like if you want to do a little cinnamon sugar on an apple slice and toast that, you can use that as a garnish. It's a really good way to do it. Or even a cinnamon stick in there. Mm-hmm. Really elevates it a little bit.
Got to add some color, make it look pretty.
Yeah, you got to Instagram that shit, right?
Instagram post. Here. Yeah, no, so kind of getting into that, and that's introduction of the cocktail. What are you calling this one?
I think we decided on a spiced cider mule. So
definitely excited to try it in its full integrity with the actual cinnamon stick and everything in it.
I'm excited too.
It's going to be good.
Fun one.
But yeah, really kind of going on that too. Just one thing about Moscow mules in general or cocktails, and simple syrup by itself is one way to really elevate any cocktail. And it's super easy to make. And honestly, we should just do like a tutorial on how to make simple syrups.
We should.
Because all it is equal parts water to sugar, and then whatever seasoning or spices or aromatics you want to throw into it, bring that to a boil, put it into a glass or put it in something you can store it in, and then let that sit at room temperature, and then that's literally it, and it's done. So it takes like 20 minutes realistically to make a simple syrup.
And you can do it with anything too, even like berries. Last year, even over Christmas, I did a candy cane simple syrup. So instead of using sugar, I just broke up a bunch of candy canes, and those were the sugar. And then I did an equal part of those to water, melted it down. It was like really, really good. And peppermint things. I mean, you can do it with anything.
Never made one before.
Really? Simple syrups?
We will use you as
fun.
our guinea pig.
Fancy. Perfect. I would love that.
We'll teach you the ways of the force.
Teach me, peasants.
Well, that should we kind of get into some stories and some fun
Fun
interactions.
Get this party started.
I mean, obviously, with being in the bar scene, there's always individuals and situations that happen and things that you see and people that might be a little bit too intoxicated or might be a little bit too confrontational. And you run into those moments quite often. And it's kind of always interesting to hear about those stories and kind of how they were taken care of. Luckily, we have security where we work right now, but there are definitely cases where you as a bartender have to step in. And those ones are always a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like my story last week where I had to make myself really big and scary,
and yell like a grizzly bear.
Yeah, I mean that's just part of the job there. Yeah.
Just last week?
No,
The last episode.
Episode.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
my
like,
story.
what?
But
Did
I mean,
miss
also,
out on?
like we just got done with Halloween, and there's lots of fights everywhere
For whatever reason.
Good old drunk people weekend.
Nothing better than Halloween weekend where it seems like it doesn't matter what happens, there's going to be a fight.
Well, it's because everybody's dressed up and they think that, oh, I'm dressed up as Batman. That means I am Batman. And so I've had 18 bush lights and I'm going to fight you because I can save Gotham City.
Because justice.
Yeah.
In the name of justice. I'm taking you out, Joker.
Because all of a sudden the Joker is your bartender and we're going down.
And you're hopping the fence. Literally. Oh, no. Anyone have like a good story off the bat? I feel like, Megan, you got a few.
I don't know. The one that like pops to my mind as just being like inherently funny was when the rodeo was in town.
That's the first one that
At
came to my
the
mind
bar
too.
that we currently work at. And our whole we work at a massive bar and it was shoulder to shoulder packed through the whole place with all just like rough cowboys. And the rodeo was literally on our patio basically. And so all of these cowboys get done bull riding. They're covered in dirt. They're still wearing all their cowboy shit. And they come strolling into our bar and they're all drinking Pendleton Red Bulls because
They wore too.
please explain to me that one. I will never understand that. Who is like, you know what I really want? I want Pendleton whiskey and Red Bull.
One of them changed it up though, and he did.
I was just gonna say
have
that, too.
Pendleton with liquid ice. And
Oh
God, it was
You
it
mix
was so gross.
an energy drink and whiskey, it's just like asking for a fight in a glass.
yeah. It's kind of like drinking Malort. You know you're going to fight your uncle afterwards. Like it's going to happen.
Shout out Langer.
Shout out Langer. But like it's just gonna happen. And so after however many Pendleton Red Bulls, these guys obviously start getting rowdy and start trying to fight people. And multiple altercations take place. But the one that really got to me, like we have like a back bar area that you can't see out the front. Like you have to go, it's kind of in the back of the building. And it's a smaller bar. So it was me and one other bartender working back there. And we're just absolutely swamped, overwhelmed, dying. I mean, we're 5 deep, all the way around the rail, drowning, server tickets, out the wazoo. And one of the little servers comes up to the well and she looks at me and she goes, Megan, I think you really need to go outside. And I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, what? What? No, I'm not going outside right now. And she's like, no, I think you really need to go outside. Doesn't say anything else to me. I'm like, okay. So I look at our other bartender. I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. Like, I'll be right back. Run outside to a scene I will never forget. He's got to be like, what, 7 foot?
He's like 6'10".
6'10" easily. Easy 450.
I'd say 400, 450.
Pound bouncer. Massive dude. On the ground. And like laying back with his head on the ground. And my first thought is, oh my God, he smacked his head on the concrete. He's bleeding out and dying. That was like my first thought. And our other bouncer yells something at me and I don't even hear it. Like I remember seeing his mouth move, but I have no idea to this day what he said. And my first thought is medical kit. Like we got to get the medical kit now. I run into our kitchen and we don't have a detached medical kit. We've got a giant mounted metal medical kit hanging on the wall that cannot be removed.
All I see is Megan just,
there's like a hanging plastic insert in the door of this thing. So I grabbed the whole plastic insert, which has nothing useful in it. It's like tweezers, maybe some gauze, a Band-Aid, like nothing that's going to be useful in any.
There's like a legit medical kit with like in that, like in like a box.
No, I had no idea.
Like within the actual thing, if you open it up, there's like little containers, and one of them is like legit, just like emergency medical kit.
Well, I had no idea. I didn't know that until just right now. So thanks for telling me that. No
medical kit.
No,
random shit.
Plastic insert with random shit in it, and I grab it, stuff it under my arm, and I'm running back to the front door, just sprinting past, and like the way back to the front door is past all our booths. So there's like families that had just come in there to like eat because this was still relatively early in the night. I would say probably like 10 o'clock or something like that. So like there's people that aren't excessively drunk, blackout wasted at this point, sitting there like eating pizza, and I'm running past them, losing medical supplies out the plastic insert, flying out behind me on my way out the front door. And people are looking at me like, what the fuck is this girl doing? And I run out the front door. And I see our other bouncer again. At this point, the one guy's sitting up and I realize he's okay. And the other guy's yelling at me like, call 911, call 911. I'm like, okay. So I run back inside, grab the phone. Of course, the phone that I grabbed doesn't dial out. And so I'm sitting there trying to call 911, can't call 911. Run all the way back to the back bar, finally get my phone, call 911. But at this point, like 5 other people have probably called 911.
Yes.
And
I called it as well.
Yeah. She's talking to me on the phone. I'm like, well, I work here. So she like sat with me on the phone until they came. The EMTs and paramedics and all come, cops come. As they're showing up, our bouncer's like kind of coming to, and he starts getting up and trying to fight this guy again. And I'm like, what's going on? They're holding him back. Our manager that was on duty is chasing down the guy that originally fought him around the block. So he's just gone with a herd of cops, like on a manhunt, hunting this guy down. And I'm just left standing there like, okay, well, no one's managing the bar right now. We're absolutely shoulders sort of swamped. I guess I should probably go back inside and start taking care of people now that EMTs are holding our bouncer down and taking care of him. I'm just going to go back inside. So I go back inside and I look, and I'm just going around picking up medical supplies off the floor so that people don't step on them. I'm like, so this is great. I get back in the back bar. Excuse me. I get back in the back bar, and the same little server comes up to me and goes, so there's a guy that's on the blacklist and he's trying to get in right now, but I don't know what to tell him because all the bouncers are outside. Can you take care of this? And I'm like, yeah.
Might as well. Yeah.
Why not? You know what?
Add it to the list.
Back bar bartender that's still back there by himself, drowning in all of this. Yeah, you know what? I'll just go manage the bar, take care of the bouncers, be a bouncer, be a medical paramedic. I'll
Rambo.
Yeah, like literally just I'll be all of it. Like when people tell you like bartenders can literally do any job after bartending, this is why. Because we literally end up having to do every job all the time.
You get thrown into some random situations and you're like, oh shit. And you just have to learn on the fly. There's no guide to this. You didn't take server training. They're like, by the way, just so you know, during server training, you're going to have to break up some numerous fights and potentially have to have a bouncer get knocked out and be an EMT for the day.
Do you know how to sew wounds? Be a bouncer.
Gonna learn to do.
Also, are you a detective?
Do you know how to work with gangrene?
Are you experienced in gang violence?
Yes. I mean,
do you feel safe in your home?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Yeah, you're not great for this job.
Ooh, that's a check.
That's a hard pass. You feel safe at home.
Cute.
Yeah. Next, please.
Next applicant. You look like the type. Tattoos on the neck.
I don't know why, but I just will never forget running past those tables and just medical supplies flying out from behind me, literally, and people just looking at me like, what is going on?
And medical supplies with the whole Band-Aid and the
tweezers, gauze.
There, it was just
some like antiseptic wipes. Yeah, literally, it's just like empty pockets by the time I get there. Like, completely worth it. Yeah,
you're like, I have this
bar rag I've been using all night. Will this work?
Me when I'm like holding Mariah's head in the hospital and there's like just a bar rag on the back of her head and it's soaking through with blood.
Different story for a different time on that
one. Excuse me. You guys can't make me laugh.
Yeah, sorry. Cut that.
Sorry, it's that seasonal weather change.
Oh shit. Dying over here. I think
literally.
Luckily I actually wasn't there for that weekend. Thank God. I remember when I was literally, because I was in Michigan on a fishing trip, and when like right after that, all that happened, my phone went off, and it went off for a solid like hour, just constant.
Yeah.
And like we don't have like very much phone service there, so it's super spotty. So every time I'd get phone service, it just
Like
and I'm
20
like,
messages.
like, is it a phone call? And I'd be like, nope, just the manager chat. And then like I went back the next day and read it because it was like 10. We were getting up like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I read it all and I'm like, holy shit, some stuff went down last night.
Honestly, my favorite part of that night was the weird cowboy that was hitting on Sam and I.
Oh.
He was
They all okay.
It was so bad.
No, they all. If you looked up, if you had a moment to look up in the sea of people, they all had the same cowboy hats on. They were all the same height. They all had a big wad of chew.
But I'm talking about the one at the door.
The back bar?
No, the one that was at the door when we were closing.
I forgot about that.
He was the highlight of my night. He'd already banged at least one or two other girls in his trailer, which was parked out behind our bar that night.
I forgot about him.
He's literally shirtless with an unbuttoned jean button-up shirt, covered in dirt and sweat, shaggy hair, also covered in dirt and sweat, wearing a cowboy hat with a flip phone. This motherfucker had
Was
a
real.
flip phone.
He was real.
Can't see. He was also drinking Pendleton Red Bulls all night, and he's leaning up against the door, just he's just like, hey baby, knocking on the door, making dead eye contact with Sam and I, and we're cleaning the wells. And so we're facing out the door, and we're both bending down, and we'd look at each other and be like, don't make eye contact with him.
He's still there, isn't he?
But then we'd look up, and you couldn't look away because it was just such...
Every time he'd like go where you couldn't see him and he'd pop out again, he'd have like his sunglasses on and be like, what's up? His chest against the glass. Oh my God.
And we just, oh my God, you couldn't look away. And so we kept making eye contact with him, so we kept doing stuff. But like, it was impossible to look away. It was just too hilarious.
We did laugh too, though, so I didn't. We were totally feeding into it.
Yeah, we were
He
definitely
was like,
feeding
they
into you.
want more.
They want me.
You want another
we're
one?
Like, we can't even believe this is really happening.
I forgot about him.
So you just had blinds on the door, just walk over, just like,
Just to close the lights.
Yeah.
He'd find a way to get
He
through
would.
them. He would.
Just that one little. Just like, push
I'm
his body up
pretty
against
sure he went to jail that night. I'm like 98% sure he went to jail that night.
didn't like 6 people go to the fucking jail that night? Jesus Christ.
From our bar.
That first fight broke out around like 9 because I remember whenever like all the commotion was happening, I looked up at the clock and it was like 9:10. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I honestly think it might have been before kids were out of there. I feel like I ran past children in those booths.
And you're like, great.
Welcome to Bar Down. Come back.
Hi, how's it going?
Like, what did they expect though with having a rodeo in a plaza location with a bar literally connected to the fucking plaza?
Yeah.
Like, this was just, I remember as soon as they actually announced it, all of us being like, this is going to be the worst idea ever.
And also the best. Like, it was so fun and it was such a cool experience, but like also bar-wise.
At what cost?
Bar-wise, it was the cost of our literal physical health. But
Sketchy situations.
just sitting on Randy's balcony, drinking Bud Heavies and watching people bull ride. I mean, you can't get better than that.
No.
I mean, it's just,
Shout out Randy.
Oh, Randy.
He messaged you back today, actually.
oh, shout out to the boy.
Man,
him.
legend.
Drink a diesel for the man.
Diesel fuel. I was trying to think of kind of a few that I have. I mean, obviously we've all experienced fucking plenty, but I think one that stood out to me kind of just like a completely different 180 flip is like that 2 a.m. wanting, like getting people out. So there was one night we're bartending and this dude was just super fucking awkward the whole night. And he was sitting right by the service well, so I couldn't get away from him. So every time I was making drinks, he would like awkwardly make conversation with me. Spilt 2 of his fucking beers. And I'm like, dude, like, are you good? Like, what's going on? Like, you seem fine. He's like, I'm just really like socially awkward. Like, I don't know what to like do. And, like, oh, like, I'm sorry. And he literally apologized to me probably like 15 fucking times. And I'm like, okay, this dude's just really fucking weird. So I like told Ted at the time, I was like, you need to like take the main rail because I can't sit by this guy anymore. He's freaking me the fuck out.
Right.
And I was there like with a girl too. And she ended up dissolving into the distance with some other dude because I only assumed socially awkward guy just wasn't really doing it for her.
Right.
So He's there like all night. All of a sudden, I don't see him for like an hour. And I'm like, oh, thank God he finally left. Like he's gone. And it's bar closed. It's like 1:55. And I remember just like coming out from the kitchen with like the mats, and he's sitting at the corner of the rail. And I'm like, you got to go, man. Like it's time to go. He's like, I'm not leaving. And I'm like, right. So it's like 2 a.m. Like you got to go. Your drinks already been pulled. It's time to go. Like whatever. He's like, fuck you, man. I'm not fucking going. At this point, as he says that, one of our security guys is right behind him and kind of just like the turn on a dime situation. He's like, all right, buddy, like time to go. Like you gotta head towards the door. And tries to get into a fight with one security guy, which was Sean.
Oh, my boy.
Who is like a brick freaking shithouse.
Literally, the
like,
definition
the dude is a boulder.
of a brick shithouse.
And so he tries to get with Sean. And our other security guy, who was a newer guy, is trying to like talk the dude down while he's like getting into it. And at which point, our other security guy, Sean, removes guy trying to de-escalate situation. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Other security guy gets thrown out of the way. Picks this dude up. And the dude was not a small guy. The dude probably weighed like 240. And just picks him up by his shoulders and just walks him. And the dude's like kicking and just like, and just yelling the whole time out the door. And gets him out. And he just shuts the door. It's like already locked. And he looks at me and he goes, what the actual fuck was that? And I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, that dude was just so weird and like super like unconfrontational and like super just like nice and kind of gentle and like kind of seemed like he was scared the whole night. Mm-hmm. And then literally at 2:00, just 180 flips it and does that shit. And I'm like, that guy was super awkward the whole night and now he wants to fight. I'm like, I don't understand what was going through the guy's head. But I remember Sean just being like, that was fucked. But nothing happened the whole night. And of course, Tyler was managing that night too.
Of course, because it's Tyler.
So like we're all joking the whole time, like, oh, like no fights yet, haha, like nothing's happened. And literally the last guy out the door starts fighting.
That reminds me of the time, literally super minor thing, but it was one of the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. It was a pretty busy night, and Sean and Jared were both at the front door, and I was on tickets. I was just on that well, and it was a busy night, so I was just stuck on tickets, just burning them. And I remember I looked up at one point, and all I see is Jared pick up this little like 21-year-old frat boy that can't weigh more than 110 pounds, pick him up by his shoulders and chuck him head first out the door.
Didn't he like straight up like Jazz from the Fresh Prince him?
Literally, he just like grabs him and yeets him literally head first out the door. And I look at Sean, and Sean looks at me, and we're both like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And we both just start laughing, and we're like, wait, what? Turns out the kid had been like vaping a bunch right in front of Jared, and he told him to stop a couple times and he didn't stop. And Jared was like, all right, I'm done with you. Just picks him up and throws him out the door. And I'm like, I will never forget that. Just watching him literally pick him up by the shoulders, like literally just like a doll, like a toy. And just
mind you,
goodbye.
Jared's like your definition of like farm boy who throws 300-pound hay bales in the back of pickups, like at ease.
Yep. Oh my God. So funny. I just remember making eye contact with Sean and just laughing and just being like, wait, what did you just see? Like, what just happened?
We're like, roll the tape. What happened?
Can we get that back up on the tape, Slanger? Where are you?
Can we just have a montage of that sometime? Take all the good ones, and then we can just, after work, just put it up on the big screen in the back and just watch it and be like, yeah.
There's so many freaking good ones that have probably happened.
And the ones that I think of, I don't even think of like the bouncers. It's like ones I've gotten involved with because I'm just a dainty lady. Yeah.
A wee lad.
But it's like whenever, it doesn't matter how hammered they are. I've been gotten in between men like twice my size and been like, you need to quit it. And they, whether they know I'm the bartender or not, they're like, oh, sorry. One time one guy goes, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, are you going to fucking punch me in the face? He's like, no. But what are you going to do about it? I'm like, get the out of here.
Like, it doesn't matter what I'm gonna do about it. You're gonna leave or I'm gonna call the police.
Leave because I mean, I got more people.
There was actually one night kind of similar to like, not like that, but there was this guy who was super fucking creepy to a bunch of chicks one night, and it was on like a Monday, so we have no security on Mondays, and numerous times like told the guy like, you gotta go. He like left 3 times and came back, and the third time when he came back, he's like, I'm not doing anything. He was sitting at the rail, and he was still being like kind of weird. Mind you, there was 2 patrons in there who literally were like egging it on. And I had to like fucking remove them from the situation too, because they were just like trying to poke at the dude and like being just complete assholes. The guy gets like super weird. his family came in to like get him. His dad, this is no fucking joke, pulls out his phone and takes a picture of these freaking chicks on his phone while he's like sitting in there. They see him do it, confront him. He fucking like literally turns and like leaves you like, like as he's doing that, I'm like, you gotta fucking leave. Like I just saw what you just fucking did. Like you either leave right now, I'm calling the police. He's like, fuck you. And he's like, fucking walk out the door. He's like, I'm not leaving without my son. I'm like, no, you're leaving right now. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking throw your son out here pretty soon. 10 minutes after that happens, son's sitting at the rail. I'm like, you need to go. Like I've told you 4 times now, you need to leave. He's like, what are you gonna do about it? And I go, you're right. What am I gonna do about it? I pull out my phone right in front of him and I call the police. Because at this point in time, it's not fucking worth my troubles. I'm still trying to serve people. I'm the only person bartending at this point in time on Monday night.
Right.
So I call the police and I'm literally on the phone with the police right in front of him. And they're like, can you describe the male? I'm like, yeah, he's wearing orange shorts, blue shirt. I'm like, how tall are you? I'm like, he's about 6'1". I'm like, what shoes are you wearing? And he's like, oh shit, you're actually on the phone with the police. I'm like, yeah, I'm literally gonna like get you arrested for trespassing right now. He gets up, finds us walking towards the door, and I'm following out, describing him to the police as he's walking out the door, and I'm explaining what's happening in the situation. They just like sent someone out, dispatch, and he gets out the door, and as soon as he gets out the door, literally bolts it across Cheyenne, like across like the road where we're at, just flail running. Most awkward situation I've ever seen in my life. I was a little scared for myself. Gets across the street and then turns and bolts running down Cheyenne, like he was heading south. And I'm literally telling this to the cop on the time, and I see the cop just casually drive by, and then I see the lights flick on. And I'm just like, oh, this is great. I love this situation. I don't know what happened with it. All I know is once they said they got him, they're like, oh, yeah, what do you want to do? And I'm like, just tell him that he can't come back. And if he comes back again, he'll be charged for trespassing.
Right. Trespass him and then, yeah.
Like, just trespassing shit. But just how the situation all arose from this dude just being super creepy to chicks and, like, me just telling him numerous times, like, you need to fucking go. And then he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. Like, don't be that fucking person.
I don't get why
just
people
go.
do that.
Like,
I've never been in a situation, but okay, well, I've never been creepy. I've never tried to start a fight or anything.
Wow. Okay.
Have I? Is there something?
Never been creepy? Please.
Me? No. I have
kidding.
manners and I have etiquette.
I'm a nice lady.
Especially at the bar when I've had copious amounts of booze.
I'm a nice lady.
I'm a nice lady.
actually lucky though that night Ted was working and there was like 7 chicks who were like trying to kick the shit out of the dude, and they were outside, and Ted like stood between them and me and de-escalated them while I was trying to get that dude out, but then I couldn't get him out the door because they were in the fucking doorway.
Love that.
It was a great time. It was about a whole hour situation, and let's say I bought a few drinks for Ted that night.
I worked at JT Cigarros, and that was a smaller bar. I don't know if you guys had ever been inside that one.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty small bar, and I was working by myself one of the nights, and there was my bar rail was full, but that's only like 8 or 9 people, but it was like all my regulars except for one guy. And he was a big, big man. And I don't know if he was just being a dick. I was like, okay, he's had so many drinks and he's starting to get like fucking weird and whatever. So I told him, I was like, we're done with this. Like, you can tab out. He'd been there forever. And he's like, you can't fucking tell me what to do. I'll come back there and pour myself. And I'm like, the fuck you will. I'm like, you're not coming anywhere near me back here. I'm like, just leave. Like, go. And then he started calling me all the lovely names that you call women when you're drunk and being an asshole. Right. C word, all the whole works. And I just stood there and I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, I wasn't even being mean or like being aggressive with him, but he just got like super drunk, aggressive. And then literally one of my regulars stood up over here, one stood up over here, and they all like enclosed on him. Because honestly though, if those guys wouldn't have been there, what the fuck what am I gonna do besides hopefully possibly have to call the cops? But if he was like a big man. And if I'm just like, I was like 23 at the time, just some little girl behind the bar, like, I wasn't like that, but what am I going to do if he comes at me, honestly, though? No, yeah. He can't like actually physically do anything about it. No. So, yeah. Been in a situation like that.
Honestly, thank the Lord for good regulars.
Like that, though. Shit.
Like the number of times regulars have like stood up for me in situations, like even like working at the other bar I work at, just like getting through the crowd. Sometimes I'll be like getting through, and there's always that one douchebag that wants to like stare at you,
mess with you,
and mess fuck with you, and And there are so many times where like a couple of my really good regulars, bigger dudes, will be like, look at a guy and be like, hey, she fucking works here. You don't do that. You made out of her way. And they'll like grab him and pull him for me. And I'm like,
I think what you meant is excuse me.
Yeah.
Move 'em.
yeah. I'm like,
here.
thanks, guys. I'm just gonna cook you here. Like, but no, for real, like save your regulars.
Yeah.
Are a real thing.
Yeah.
Like
They're
The best is like, I mean, regulars obviously get away with a lot more, but they also have your back in situations like that too.
Right,
And then there's like,
yeah.
there's a reason why like the regulars are treated the way they
there's
are.
like give and a take. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like if ever in a situation like that, I guarantee half our regulars are like,
oh yeah, 100%.
There have been so many times where someone will say to me like, oh, why can that person do this? And I'm like, well, because they pay me hundreds of dollars a week. I'm sorry, do you do that? Well, no. Okay, then you can't do that.
and like
Like-
we're actually friends and we don't just hang out here. Like,
Yeah.
I know them.
Yeah.
Like, well,
I love our, so like at the bar we work at now, we take cards for tabs. And like the spoken rule of like how we do it is like, there's obviously people we don't take cards for a tab on chill nights or whatever, just because we know you and whatever. And the rule is like, if you don't pay your tab, we have to pay it. But like, if we know you well enough to be able to text you afterwards or Venmo you afterwards and say, here's my request for your tab
for your
amount,
tab that you
then yeah,
bought.
you don't need to take a card from
Yeah.
that person. So there'll be people like, well, I guess you just have to be friends and you have to put a card on. It's like, well, actually, yeah, that's
usually how it works. Yeah.
if you can't immediately pay me back for the tab you walk out on, then you have to put a card down. Like, and there is a perk of being a regular.
Half the
like,
freaking people that, like a lot of our regulars, handful of regulars should say, like they live in the building too.
yeah.
So if they were to walk on a tab, we could literally
I
call
just
them and
call
get
you
it
and be
paid.
like, hey,
that
come
night.
downstairs and pay your fucking tab.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll be like, oh shit, I didn't realize it. And like I guarantee if like they walked on a tab, they tip more because they
Right.
feel bad.
Well, I've even done that where I've like not paid for like my soup or something, and I've gone home and gotten a text, hey, Megan, you didn't pay your time. I'm like, ah, shit. And I live like 30 seconds away, and I like literally just like skirt back. I'm like, all right, here's my money for my tab. Like, if you can't do that, then yeah, you have to fucking put a card on
Yeah.
tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, don't get mad about it. It's just what we have to do. It's
Yeah,
like, it's
it's part of
policy. It's like 90% of the bars do that, like in high volume situations, or you have to cash out right away. Like there's just no in between.
This
Yeah,
was a
can't just-
massive rabbit trail. Just dawned on
Yeah.
me. we just totally descended into nothing there.
And then like got a can from it. And he came in.
The guy that always tried to pay
Yep.
checks.
Yep.
Yep.
Came in and it was on an NDC Bison game.
This is before
and
you worked there.
No, this is actually when she worked here.
Well, the guy
No,
was
yeah,
a
the
bouncer
guy,
before
but-
you.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
came in one day.
know
This
what
is
you're talking about.
kind of a little bit of a rabbit hole situation, but kind of goes into like the altercation thing. Comes in, sits the rail, and I'm like doing dishes, but I was managing at the time. And I'm like, need anything, man? And he's like, oh, I'll just do Bush Light. I'm like, cool. He's like, I'm his Bush Light. Started him a tab, and he talks about the Bison game. And I'm like, I personally was like, didn't watch the game. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't care for the Bison football fan base, especially working at a bar because of like, kind of all the shit that we see from it. And 9 times out of freaking 10, when it's an NDC Bison game and it's early game, you're gonna have people puking and people get kicked out. It's almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, like, I basically told him that. I'm like, it's different from my side, my perspective. And he looks at me square in the face and goes, so how's bar backing? And I looked at him and go, I'm the fucking manager. And then I looked at him and go, and you just proved my point about NSU Bison fans. And then I walked away. And then he proceeded to not get served until he left.
But also that's you just being a douche too, though. Like you could have just risen above and been like, "Oh, it's great," and walked away and just been the bigger person. Although I love your response.
Yeah, the dude freaking deserves it.
Like,
Especially because
I like yours too, though.
especially because of the history with this
But that's
individual,
just
though.
such a you response to that.
God, like
Yeah, well, I'm
just like the reason, and the best part is like he was with some chick. I think it might have been his wife. I don't know. And she literally just like scolded him right after that.
Oh.
And I came over there and she was literally just fucking in his face. Like, why would you say that? Like, why would you ever do something like that? Like, that is so inappropriate. And I'm just walking by, like, kind of laughing, like,
I mean,
to each your own.
I wouldn't even care anything he says though, because half the time he'd try and pay his tab with a check, and the check would bounce. Like, do you remember when he had a bunch of unpaid tabs at the bar, and our old GM had to literally take his paycheck to the bank, cash it to pay his unpaid tabs?
I do not remember that, no.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah.
Respect.
So, and it's honestly anything he has to say to you or about you, Okay.
Yeah, null and void.
My bar backing job is going great. How about you pay your
Isn't he a lot
tab?
older too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, at least I can pay for my fucking tabs.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, I'm sorry, you can't.
Trying to think of a situation now, kind of where have we had one where all of us been working with someone who's been like thrown out like heroically?
All three of us?
I don't know if that's ever really happened.
What about that night that you, that guy, that dude was fucking hammered.
The Captain Morgan guy.
He would come up to not our like main server station, the other one that we don't use too often, and he would come up and get like 3 shots. It was like his birthday.
Captain
or something.
Morgan.
Was it him?
Yeah, it was that one. Yep.
I wasn't working that night. I was at my job that night.
So that one,
I have heard about that one.
I'll kind of go into this one because it was kind of interesting. The one situation where I actually had to like get physical with somebody, and which should not do for legal reasons in hindsight, and like after doing it, should have done it. But it happens when our bouncer was not paying any fucking attention after I called for him 8 times. So basically, this dude was piss hammered. He was drinking Captain Morgan shots, and he ordered 3 at a time. So he did it twice apparently. And the second time he did it, like one of our bartenders came up and was like, "Hey, this dude's cut off. He's ordering like Captain Morgan shots, and like he's taking 3 at a time. Like he's done." So we cut him off.
He would spill them half the time too. He couldn't even like grab one without. But either way, he kept trying to order them. And
this is like
being an ass.
Before we made the policy. Like if someone's cut off and like being a nuisance, they're kicked out no matter what.
In my defense, I said that should have been the policy from the day we opened. Bullshit. That was not the policy. Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
Continue.
So he's obviously drunk as hell, and he's over in a corner talking to these guys at one point, and I can see it's kind of like getting heated, a little more escalated. And I kind of go over there. I'm like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, no, everything's fine." And I'm like, "Okay, like just want to make sure because it kind of seems like things are getting a little heated over here." And sure as shit, I like turn around, do a loop around the bar, and as soon as I come back, it's probably like 5 minutes after that. All I hear is like a loud thud, and I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" And I look over, and this dude has a guy pinned up against the pig wheel in the main bar. The dude like throws, like finds a way to get out. I don't know. This dude was like 5'6" by the way, and like I swear to God, he must have been the greasiest bastard in the damn world.
He was
just squeals his way out, and I see him, and I literally call for security. I'm like, "Yo, like security, we need somebody over here like right now." None of them move, and I'm like, "Okay," and like they weren't even paying attention, didn't hear me or something.
the one from the main door was like,
Yeah.
like
Cracks back.
Yeah.
Gargles some salt water. All right.
But yeah, so like that happens, and while this is happening, I'm like, "Okay, fuck this." So I run over, try to separate the situation, and the guy gets separated, and this like fucking got to be 21, 22, just freshly, just idiot, runs like towards me, and I grabbed him and I threw him into the E-tab machine. He eats shit, like goes down, whatever. And as like I'm literally trying to see what's going on behind me, not realizing this is like the kid who like did anything. He gets up and starts running, and our security guard grabs him, and then like, because I mean for legal reasons they can't like hold him technically, so like let him go, and the dude just bolts out the fucking door, and he's
like,
gone,
ricocheted off of like every which way, and then just like.
And then as I turn and see what had happened, and he had punched a dude and cut him wide open above his eye, and the dude was just gushing fucking blood.
Yeah.
So one of our security guards, who's an EMT as well, like EMT trained, like got him like all taken care of and shit, and like asked what happened, and he's like, we were just like having a conversation. It was getting like a little heated, and he literally just swung on me and just cold cocked him. And I was like, what the fuck's going on right now? And I'm like, and that's why when someone's cut off from freaking drinking, like
out of here.
doing stupid things like that, they need to be like
out.
escorted out, because obviously that person's not doing anything for your bar. They're not giving you any money at that point in time. No. They're just causing problems.
Well, that was like the night that our friend got arrested out front, who he ended up getting let go. But like that, I don't think you were working that night. I want to say it was like a Thursday or something dumb like that. But this guy, she's one of our regulars. She had an issue with this guy early in the night. It was when the patio was open. And I guess his girl, like he had like brushed up against her, like groped her or something that made her really uncomfortable. But she like brushed it off. But then the guy's girlfriend came up to her and was like, "You fucking whore, you're trying to get all over my boyfriend." And this guy was ugly. This guy was not attractive. And this girl that was one of our regulars is hot. Like, very attractive. And she was like, that's when I got really uncomfortable. She's like, fuck that girl. Like, don't be coming up to me saying I'm a whore and all this stuff. When your boyfriend came up and groped me and made me feel uncomfortable and sexually harassed me, like, absolutely not. So then there was this whole like situation with that, because then all of her drunk friends were trying to stick up for her. And then like, you know, and then one of the bouncers that was on was like trying to get to the bottom of it. And he couldn't figure out what was going on because, they, you know, everyone's like
yelling over top each other.
Emotional and drunk.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, our regular was in the right to like say something about it. And like, we ended up figuring that out, but it just took, you know, forever. And by the time we figured all that out, it was kind of just like, all right, we just need this situation to be over. And at that point, I said that guy should have gone up. But you won't listen to me. And so the guy continues to drink in there. And then he comes up to the bar and he orders like, he was feeling like everyone was mad at him or something. So he wanted to order shots for the bar. So he orders like, I don't know, it was like 40 shots or something like that. And I'm like, all right, if you want to order shots for everyone to kind of smooth things over, I'm fine with that. You better not be taking any of them, but if you want to give them away to everyone, that's fine. So I make him the shots. And while I'm making him the shots, him and his friend start talking to these African-American people who are actually my friends. And it was one of their birthdays at the corner of the bar. And I know these guys. And so I'm like, all right, how about you don't start causing problems with my friends? That'd be cool. And they start talking about like the way that they talk and how they need to learn how to speak proper English and like all these super racist things, like absolutely completely out of line. And these guys are my friends and very nice human beings, and they handled it very respectfully. They're like, dude, like just walk away, like just please stop talking to us, please go away. They're like, you're being completely inappropriate right now. And then these two guys got all mad. They're like, we're not being racist. We're not doing this, blah, blah, blah. Started freaking out. And my friends are like, hey, like, seriously, like, please walk away. Like, we don't want to talk to you. We are having a good time. We are minding our own business. Please walk away from us. Please go away, blah, blah, blah. They stand up and are like, seriously, you need to walk away. You know, like just to literally claim their own space because these guys keep
being
coming.
Nice. Like, what do we have to do?
Keep coming at them. And they just think these two guys would not go away. And they kept coming at them and coming at them and coming at them. And finally, the bouncer, thankfully, bouncers around. So it must have been, maybe it was a Friday. Maybe it was just a dead Friday. I can't remember. Whatever. Either way, it was either Thursday or Friday. And the bouncers step in and they're like, hey, you guys need to walk away. Whatever. And again, at this point, I'm like, hey, these guys need to go. Like, they can't be talking like that. They can't be saying those things. They can't be causing these situations. They need to go. Of course, they don't get kicked out. So I go and I tab them out. I'm like, I'm done serving them. They're cut off. They need to leave. I'm cutting them off. So I tab them out. I literally haven't even handed out these shots that I made. Literally tab these guys out, hand them their tabs. I'm like, these guys, I tell the bouncers, I'm like, these guys need to go. They're not kicking them out. And in all of this, one of the two guys goes back over to my friends again and start trying to cause problems. So I end up over there literally holding these guys apart, being like, you need to walk away. You need to go outside. You are kicked out. You need to leave. And the guy, of course, doesn't listen to me because I'm a 5'5" woman, and he looks at me like I don't exist. And I literally grab him by the shoulders. I'm like, look me in the face. I'm like, you need to leave. I am telling you need to go. Here is your card. You are getting out of my bar. I am walking you out right now. And I look at the other guy. I'm like, you're staying here. Do not fucking follow me. We're fucking walking out. And he's like, gets all mad. And I'm like, no. And I grab him by the shoulders and I start pushing him out the door. And in the middle of that, the other guy starts talking about basically murdering someone to our bouncer. And our bouncer loses it and fucking grabs this guy and starts hauling him out the door, which you know the situation because that was on, there's a video of it that got posted like TikTok or something dumb. And, but yeah, this guy basically told our bouncer that he was going to murder someone in the street outside our bar. And our bouncer was like, absolutely not, get the fuck out. And he starts calling him out. And his girlfriend starts beating on our bouncer. And
this was recent.
Yes, this is very recent.
Yeah, now I remember this.
This is very recent.
It's not funny, but yes, now I remember what it's from.
His girlfriend starts trying to beat on our bouncer. It causes this whole scene. They all get hauled outside. These two guys that were causing all the problems decide they want to call the cops because they were wronged that they were kicked out of our bar. So they call the cops.
Fucking dumbasses.
And then they assault the cops. that they called.
Yeah.
And they get arrested for resisting arrest and assault on the cops that they called
job.
to our bar for getting kicked out of our bar for alleging to murder and be racist and sexually assault people. If karma isn't fucking sweet, I don't know what is.
Didn't the one guy get tased too?
Yep. No! One of them got tased right in the street in front of our bar.
Yeah.
Because we were all confused. We were like, why are the cops here? Like, we didn't call the cops and no one else got it. We're like, who'd call the
That's
cops?
funny.
They called the cops thinking that the
Arrested.
cops would come let them back into our bar.
That's how that works. yeah.
Arrested and tased.
Because
Because you called the cops.
you called the cops because you thought they'd let you back
Who
in.
called us?
Oh my God.
We did. Come here. Let's be a bare knuckle
There
brawl.
was a whole nother like situation.
I was not told that part of this story at all.
They
That's
called the
awesome.
cops
good.
and then they went to jail.
Well, deserved.
Don't be fucking stupid. Jesus.
Yeah, don't be stupid.
They're stupid, but they're stupid. Yeah, they're stupid.
God.
Oh my God.
I freaking forgot about that story.
Karma is
I like the ending to that.
so sweet. Anyway, I mean, it was like very long getting there. There's a long
But
winded
it's
story,
good.
but yeah.
The
I mean,
ending's worth
you
it.
need all of the like context.
The
like
build
they,
up, yeah.
They like sexually assault someone. They like
girlfriend
gets
they're
mad
about
harassing me.
this,
The
but it
girlfriend's all this. They're racist. You know, like they just keep like building up a list.
Why are we getting kicked out? What did we do?
What did we do? We were gonna call the cops.
Like the scroll out. Just,
This isn't true.
here's a list of one. I have another one in the back. Give me a second. And then they get arrested. That's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know what
But I
we're
was
gonna
then
do?
able to go to our regular and who got sexually assaulted and be like, hey, so just so you know, if it makes you feel any better,
He's in jail right now.
these guys just went to jail, so you're welcome.
That is
people.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love situations like that. Nothing better than when karma comes back and bites him in the ass in the end.
Good old ring around the rosy.
Good old fashioned ring around the rosy.
I don't even know if I have any other good ones really.
I thought of earlier too, the time you and I were working main bar and the guy decided to light up a joint.
Oh!
I was gonna bring that one up. There's one we were all three there.
You
for.
were there for that
yes,
too?
I was.
Oh,
my God. This was so good. Tell it, Nick. Tell it.
I hate
I
this
have
fucking
never
man.
seen you snap so like you realized it. Like I saw the light go down and then I smelled the weed and then it clicked in my brain. I was
My
like,
back
holy
was towards
shit.
all of it.
4 and 7.5 moons ago.
But Nick's like already over the bar. Like
That was
Seriously.
the one time I almost topped the fucking bar rail. If our security guy wasn't right
Good
behind
job. I was gonna
him,
bring that up.
already there, I would have hopped that rail. So here's the backstory on this one. Older guy, he's probably like 50-ish, I don't know. Never fucking seen him before in the bar, ever. He's sitting in there. He's like fucking hammered. I think he had like 12 like Morgan doubles. I think it was a Morgan Diet double.
He was taking shots on Rumplements. I gave him Rumplement shots.
So he's taking shots and all
I
this
didn't
shit.
remember that.
He's fucking
detail.
piss hammered. He tabs out with me because he's like, oh, I'm drunk. I need to go home. And then these two chicks come over and sit at the rail, like right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like trying to be a big shot and all this shit. So he's like, oh, I'm going to do another one and I'll buy them whatever they want. And I'm like, okay, sure, man, whatever you need. So I get them their drinks, whatever. And they're talking. And I'm at the service station and he's like, oh, I need some Wu-Tangs. He like orders 3 Wu-Tangs from me. I'm like, sure, man, not a big deal. As I'm making said Wu-Tangs, I look over and I see him pull out a lighter and I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to just go outside and smoke before he gets some, not a big deal. Then proceeds to pull out a fucking joint in the other hand. And I'm like, this is interesting. As I'm shaking the fucking Wu-Tangs, and all of a sudden he puts the fucking joint in his mouth and sparks it. And I fucking run over there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, get the fuck out. I grab fucking Jared.
Exactly that. That's
And-
exactly what you said.
And fucking security guy comes over and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, he's fucking smoking a fucking joint at the goddamn rail. I'm like, get him the fuck. And I am flipping shit.
You freak out. You're like, you're lucky we don't fucking have you arrested right fucking
Yeah,
now.
I literally say, you're lucky to hold you and get you fucking arrested. And then I grabbed his card because I had it already in my hand and tabbed him out. And I hucked it at him, hit him in the chest. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you sign that or not. I'm like, get the fuck out. And then Jared proceeds to understand what's going on in the situation. And is like, oh shit. And like grabs him and like is moving him out. And he's literally like kicking screams like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
As he literally, as Jared's going over, we watch him put the joint in the garbage can still lit. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it just reeks over there like weed.
Oh, yeah.
Missed it.
Dude gets thrown out.
Missed it. My back was towards him. All of a sudden I just see, because I've like, he was at that rail and all the like regulars were over here. And all of a sudden I all see them all with their big eyes and they're like, and I was like, what did I miss? I turn around, Nick's freaking out. And I just see a little smoke in the air. And I was like, oh God.
Looking back on the situation, I just wish the one thing I would have done was knock the top off the freaking the tin with the Wu-Tangs in it and just hucked it on the dude.
Oh.
That's all I wish I would have done.
Put the joint up with it. Yeah.
No, and then I'd been like, sir, that's a fire hazard. And then I'd have been like, cool guy. Then I come up with some shade.
Yeah,
and
the
like,
Wu-Tang too, you know, like, because you're Wu-Tang. That would have been funny.
that'd have been funny. But in hindsight, I just freaked the fuck out.
But I was standing right there because I must have been working gaming or something. I don't remember. But I was making a drink at that well that was right in front of that guy. And I had just like kind of walked up and I'm like looking at the well. I remember looking up and I see like the red like cherry of him sucking it, and it go down because he like took a hit. And I remember seeing the cherry go down, seeing smoke go up, and smelling weed. And it hit like as it's like clicking, like holy shit, this guy just lit a joint at our bar. Which, mind you, weed's not legal in our state.
No.
So like it'd be one thing too if we were in a state where weed was legal and you were just, you know, kind of like lighting a cig in a bar, which also completely not cool and you're going to get thrown out for it anyway.
Yeah.
But it would be a little less crazy. But like, I just remember like it clicking in my brain. And as it clicked, you were already like, the fuck are you doing? And I see you kind of like grab the bar like you're going to
I wanted to hop it so bad.
As you're doing that, you're grabbing him and you like held yourself back. And I'm like,
so fucking bad.
Oh my
and
God.
Like, I mean, jumping the bar is totally reasonable at certain bars, but like at our bar, there's really not ever a need to, just because of like how our bar's set up.
Also, it's like, if I were to jump that bar, I would have been foot in the ice bin.
Yeah, I mean, that ice bin would have been over, but I mean, like at the other bar,
I just swan dive tackle
a few times, but yeah, no, I just remember seeing the cherry go down and the smoke go up, and literally instantly, Nick's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Get the fuck out of here!" And I'm like,
I was between the taps.
I'm like,
I turned and I just saw it because I knew he had it in his
right
hands.
in front of my face. Yeah.
Oh, like I just remember seeing him have both the things, and I was like, okay, so he's just gonna go outside and do it, and then like it's my initial thought. And then just turned, grabbed the shit, whatever, just turned back, and I just see the fucking cherry, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" and just charged that bar.
I didn't even smell it right away. That's why I was like, "It's a cigarette." I mean, yeah, we're pissed, but like,
I was
what a drunk,
right
dumbass
him,
idiot.
so
and then I
smelled
it, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah, yeah."
No. Either way, no, but I didn't know.
The fact that he sparks a joint, like
the balls,
full joint. Yeah, no shit. The cojones on that man.
Like trying to fucking look cool in front of those
that
chicks.
man had balls of fucking steel, and as much as that man needed to leave, I still respect him.
It was no, like straight up though, that was the ballsiest shit I've ever seen. You're sitting at like the server station too.
Yeah, literally at the
yeah.
You are where
You're not,
everyone goes
you're
around.
not even like hiding in
and
a booth
right
or
next
some
to our
shit.
door too, like because our front door is like right there.
There's a bouncer behind you.
There's two bouncers right behind you. There's two bouncers behind you. You have three bartenders in front of you, and you still lit it.
And it was like a busy night, but it wasn't that big. It wasn't like we were too deep all the way around the rail.
Right.
Like we were like packed, but we weren't like packed.
Yeah.
But
Like there was room to notice that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, iconic. Definitely charge it for the Wu-Tangs too.
Good.
Yeah.
You always charge them for that. If you poured the liquor, you charge them for it.
Oh yeah.
I love the people that are like, "Oh, I spilled this. Can I just get a free one?" No.
That's not how that works.
If something happened where you had like a cracked glass or like a server spilled it on you or whatever,
Some other drunk person
absolutely
dumped it on you by accident.
fine. Yeah, I'll give you a free drink. But you being dumb or like, "Oh, I didn't like this." No, I poured you the liquor. You pay for the liquor. That's our product. Like you bought it. I don't care you didn't like it. I'm sorry. You buy something on Amazon. 90% of people don't return things to Amazon. You buy something on Amazon, you eat the cost.
Well, unless there's a Karen, which they're gonna get their money back.
Excuse me, I need to speak on manager.
I'm gonna talk to a manager. Oh God, confrontation.
Okay, hold on one
One
second.
second.
Nick would be like, "I am the manager."
Yes. My favorite thing to do too.
Yeah, Nick would be like, excuse me, I'm not a barback, I'm a manager.
Yeah.
And, you can talk to me.
Excuse me, Karen? You are talking to the manager.
I've only done that once, and it was actually super gratifying when I
Yeah,
did it.
it is. It's enjoyable.
Outside incident.
Yeah, with the kids carving
Yeah.
up the fire pits. Yeah. Oh, it was so sad. So gratifying. And they're like, we're never coming back here again. I'm like, good. Don't.
You're 12 years old. I don't care if you
I
do
could
or not.
literally call the cops for defamation of property right now, or destruction of property, not defamation of property.
They're pooping on properties. Defecation.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
Defecating.
right either.
I remember, no, like destruction of property. I could call the cops for destruction of property right now. But you don't want me to do that. All I wanted was your phone number in case I need to contact you, and you're gonna fucking cause a scene. Guess who's your fucking manager? It's me, your server, bitch. Let's go.
Well, now I'm uncomfortable. Well, the good times and the fun stuff that we always have to deal with as bartenders. Do we have any other?
Do you have any like good old days, like
I know.
bar kickouts? I feel like you have to.
You think I would have a
like
bunch from the hub.
crazy weird fights, like just weird drunk people doing dumb shit.
I mean, I was trying to think of, honestly, because of the hub, I mean, there was all those bars. And
So many things.
I've been so inappropriately touched at those things too, though.
Yeah.
I didn't even,
All the
I remember
time.
when I first started working at the hub, I had short shorts on. We all dressed really inappropriately.
Right.
And all the girls always would like smack each other's butts. And like,
Yeah.
there was one time I was at my station and I was doing whatever, and I feel someone slip a finger under my shorts and like go like that to my butt cheek. And I just turn around and I'm like, thinking it's like one of my girlfriends. Some little short dude just like, but in my mind I was like, oh my God, gross. That was funny. And one of my security guards came over and was like, did that guy just put his finger up your shorts? I was like, yeah, I just got a butt cheek. He's like, fuck no. And like drug the dude out. But I didn't think anything of it because I was just like, oh my God, it's funny. You see how cute and little he was? It's probably he doesn't get to touch girls like
What are you
that.
5? What are you 5'2"?
Easily. He was
You're literally half your height.
You turn around, punch him square in the fucking nose. Just
I could have just like,
Like he's like making eyes with your belly button. Like,
yeah. Those ones love me the most.
because you're just a goddess. I'm like,
Yes, bow down. But
oh,
if
you're
you
so
do,
tall.
I don't like. I can't even think of any good. Not anything like too exciting other than just like the typical. I think honestly the most exciting stuff that's ever happened has been here at
really?
Bar Down.
Yeah.
It's probably
Honestly,
it's
like the
just
most,
such a
like-
shit show out here.
It's just if somebody gets like kicked out, it's I swear like one after another. Like it just starts like a whole
It's like
domino
a chain
effect.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
just like,
freaking like
holy
on
shit.
like on fight nights when they actually like we were showing the fights right away,
Oh.
and like just you could feel
The fighting energy.
like
it
the
was
tension
like,
in the air.
Yeah, it was like literally
Ugh.
testosterone leaking into the air.
Oh
Like
God! And all the security guards too are just like
it's happening.
they're just shaking their heads like I just
happening.
know something bad's gonna
It's coming.
happen. Like you can't even avoid it, or like it's just gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
I also feel like, I mean, this is going to sound really political or whatever, but like last year with the pandemic and the election, I feel like there was a lot of tension because, I mean, can we talk about like the 10 p.m. closing stuff? Like people were getting
I want to do a whole episode on that
ridiculously drunk, ridiculously
in
early.
an hour.
Yeah. And
The
so,
9 to 10 power hour.
people were like just like crazy fucking drunk out of nowhere. And
Like last Saturday.
No, we're talking
Well,
about like literally during
like when we
the-
had to close at 10 p.m.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh.
And so like that whole thing, like people would like get off work and then they just like power drink. And then at like literally 9:30, they'd be blackout, belligerently drunk, more drunk than they would normally be on like a Friday night
Yeah.
at 2 a.m. And because they were just like, oh, we have an hour left to be in the bar. Let's take 30 shots.
Yeah.
And they just get fucking ridiculous.
I hated how they would always come up and they would order like 2 shots per person.
Yep.
Like didn't matter what. It was like, 8 people at the table, I need 16 shots.
Yeah, I need 16 Chuck Norrises. Like, okay, this is safe.
But the issue was like us as bartenders, like we had to make our money during that time too. So it's like we have literally like 5 hours to make money.
Right. So we were making stuff for people that we probably shouldn't have been making, but also people were drinking stuff in a way, in a manner that they wouldn't normally be drinking. So between that and then also with the election, I think tensions were really high. Like I think about that one fight with, he used to come in all the time. He doesn't really come in much anymore, but he was a younger, like mixed race kid, was in there all the time, had like a white girlfriend, and that super racist guy came up and punched him in the face, and then that caused like a huge fight. That was the fight of the story that I told last week, where I was like, "Hey, like you can't fucking, don't fucking touch each other." Blah blah.
Hulking
it was
out.
that whole fight, and he caused that fight, and then he ran to the bathroom, and then ended up causing a fight in the bathroom, But he was basically just like yelling at people, being super racist, being like, "You can't be with her, and you can't do this," and blah, blah, blah. Like, and I don't know, it just felt like tensions like that were super at like an all-time high.
Well, it's also
and
because
it wasn't helped by the pandemic, which was also causing tensions to be at an all-time high.
everyone came out of it, and then they're like, "Hey, we're normal for a little bit," and then all of a sudden it's like the 10 p.m. closes, and that was like, as you said, like you'd literally get off work, these people would show up, and they would just from 5 until 10. It was just fucking power hours.
Yeah.
And the last hour was the fucking worst because everyone would just order shots on shots on shots on shots. And then you try to get people out at 10 p.m. and they were just obliterated.
So to me, it feels like fights in the last year have been at least a little bit more tense than before. You know what I mean?
You mean less tense?
No, more tense. They've been like the
Now?
fights, like the last year of fights have been more tense because of the pandemic and all of those things. I mean, now it's starting to smooth out.
I think people
again,
are just
think.
fucking stupid. That's
Well,
the
that
issue.
also,
we live
but, like,
in North
like,
Dakota
we've
where half the
bottled this
people
up
here
for so
drink
long.
for their hobby.
True.
So
True. Yeah.
so that doesn't really help the
So
situation.
being stuck inside, they're like, I must unleash hell at this
Yes.
bar
Yes.
with the 5 hours
They're like,
that I
I
have.
see 3 people, I must fight them all.
I can take them.
Challenge accepted. I've been practicing in my bedroom for the last however many months.
Karate, bro.
You guys been doing karate in the garage like fucking Will Ferrell.
I'm just thinking of that.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Do you want to
Thank
build
you,
a
Nick.
bunk bed?
What?
Do you want to build bunk beds?
Yes.
There's blood everywhere.
Such a bad idea. Why would you let us do that?
I was thinking of the kid, the home video of the kid in the garage with a lightsaber, and he starts doing the like lightsaber fighting. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
No.
Do you know what
think I
I'm
know what
talking
you're talking about.
Okay.
But-
That's what I was
Is he
thinking of. Like
a bigger dude?
no, it was like a little like 12-year-old boy
No, I don't know.
with a lightsaber in his garage. He puts on like really intense music and he starts fighting like
Gotta
nothing.
start practicing sometime.
Do we have any other stories though? Because we're kind of at an hour.
I'm good. I think we got a lot of good ones.
We're at an hour.
Well, I'm gonna fight.
And that's how we end the episode right there. It's just a brawl scene. Cuts
See
to
the
black.
camera go like.
Layer comes with a bottle of Malord.
Some Blair Witch shit.
All you
I'm
see is
just
a
gonna-
hand just set the bottle right here. We're like,
No,
we'll be
we have
back
to
in
save- we have
5.
to save that for Langer's
I know.
episode.
Oh, God.
Oh no. But I guess with that though, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be on Spotify, we will be on Apple Music, and then we will also be on Anchor for our actual podcast. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, check out all the things that we've been doing over there. Like us on Instagram, follow us there. Check out the cocktail, and kind of see you guys next time for the special guests that we'll be having on. You're not going to want to miss this episode though, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and got a feeling that we're going to hear some stories that we don't know about this individual.
Yeah.
And we've been promised this is going to be the best episode.
This
so.
next episode, let's just say this individual is one of the. He's a very instigator kind of individual in our
He's
lives,
a personality.
but he is one of the biggest personalities you'll ever meet, and he's just seen a lot of shit. Like he's that guy that gets invited to places and then just sees shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
And he's got the stories to back him.
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm actually ready for it. I'm excited
I
for
am.
it, but I don't think I'm ready for it.
I've gotten to meet him in the last few months. Privilege, really. And I can't wait to hear the stories because I could only imagine.
We actually have this episode scheduled out for the next 2 weeks, so we will actually get this on track. Obviously, it's been the holidays, so things have been a little crazy. But yeah, we will see you soon.
Perfect.
And it will be with some good shit, brother.
Peace.